Happy Wednesday, everyone. We got a fun work set for you guys coming today. We have a nice 5-round couplet today. That's gonna be a little bit fun. We'll talk about that momentarily, but let's get ourselves going with this piece first. We have a heel elevated squat hold of 10 seconds. We're gonna work on just starting our day off with a nice little hold at the bottom of your squat. Tempo air squat of 5 reps with a 3-1-3 tempo. Side lunge of 6 to 10 alternating. Foot assist pistol for 3 per side. So we're gonna really kickstart off the day with some good squats, just get ourselves moving really well. Then we're gonna hit that for 1 to 3 rounds just to really start opening up those legs, especially after yesterday's adventure. You did a few squats yesterday, so today is gonna be a nice day just to open up those hips with some similar movement patterns. Now after that, we have a goblet squat of 3 reps for 5-second eccentric, so a very slow lower down. You can also replace that goblet squat with a front squat, depending on what squat you choose in the work set today. You can use this to warm you up. I would do at least 1 round though with the goblet squat just to work on posture and keeping that body nice and tall. From there, we're going to move into a single leg RDL for 3 a side. If you'd like to load this with the same dumbbell or kettlebell you're using for your goblet squat, please be my guest. Moving through that, we're going to move into some skill work for some heel taps, ankle pops, and some skipping. So we're going to give you guys a few different options there to work on skipping skill work and continue to further that skill along as we kind of build that ankle and then those calves. So it's going to be a great day just to kind of work on some skill, waking things up and getting things prepped for the work to come. The workout today is 5 rounds. We're going to take down 75 double unders or singles or a skipping variation of your choice that I'll have on the workout description. And then we're going to finish off with 10 dumbbell squats. The 10 dumbbell squats today, I'd like to be on the heavier side if you have access to heavier dumbbells, but choosing on the heavier side today to work a little bit more volume in heavy reps under a little bit of fatigue. So it's going to give you a really good opportunity to practice either that good goblet or that really nice front squat. And again, heavy is a relative term, so I want you to think about what can I do those 10 reps within a row, where those last couple reps are going to be really tough. So we're only looking for like the last 2 to 3 reps to be like, woof, I did not want to do those, but I did them. So not starting at 2, all right? So we don't want that second rep being, woof, I don't know if I can get the other 8. Right? So keep that in mind, play with those loadings that you have. I'm also going to have some different options down here for the skip and the squat if you like to play around with some different lower body exercises today. So let's warm you up, let's have some fun today, and let's enjoy. All right, let's get those legs moving. Let's get those feet under those hips. We're gonna take the arms big and tall up overhead. We're gonna reach over to one side. We're gonna come back through and reach it to the other side. Come back overhead and forward fold all the way down those toes. And then walk ourselves up those shins. We're gonna come down, framing a foot, and step it back into our lizard. Nice square hips. We're just gonna lower that back knee down. Press the hip. Through, press the hip, come back through, and press the hip, and back through. Straightening out that back leg. We're going to slowly straighten the front leg, plant the foot, straighten the front leg, plant the foot, and straighten the front leg, plant the foot. We're going to step it back into our down dog. In that down dog, setting those shoulders good and strong. Let's press and hold one foot. Press and hold the other foot. Come back into our plank, pressing the floor away. We'll step that other foot up into that lizard. We're going to lower the back knee, press the hip, come back to the center, press the hip, back to center, and press the hip, back to center. We're going to straighten out the front or the back leg, and then slowly straighten the front, plant the foot, straighten the front, foot, and straighten the front, and plant the foot. We'll step back in that down dog again, pressing through those arms. We're going to walk those heels. Nice and slow, nice and steady, just waking up those calves a bit, waking up those hamstrings. And come back into that plank, pressing through the floor. We'll tiptoe those feet up, and then we're going to roll ourselves all the way up overhead, big stretch, little reach, little reach. And we'll bring those hands down. Let's get continue warming ourselves up. Now, if you have any extra movement you'd like to do for yourself, some band work, some more ankle work perhaps, some lizard lunging, anything you need to do to get yourself ready to go for the work set today, please pause the video, take that down. We're going to start moving through our next phase of warm-up, which is going to kickstart off with a nice squat hold. All right, you guys, what we're going to kickstart off with today is a nice squat hold. And if you have something that you can put underneath your heels for a heel elevated squat, please use that today for this warm-up. It's going to help just open up the hips and ankles a little bit to get us ready for some nice squatting today. If you don't, you can use just a normal air squat hold. You can use a post, a door jamb, you can hold yourself up with if you'd like as an assistance tool. But if you do have an elevation about an inch high or 2 inches, you could use that to get yourself kind of in that heightened position. If you are using a surface, you are going to plant your laces so that midfoot on the edge of the surface that you have. I'm using a plate, so it's rounded, so I have to kind of hug the edges. But if you have something that's square, at home we just want to put that line or that edge right where the laces are in the shoes. My big toe and my pinky toe are on the floor. I'm standing up nice and tall, and I'm trying to stay right in the center of my weight through my laces, my feet. So I'm not too far back on my heels, nor am I leaning into my toes either. I'm just nice and centered. And I'm going to stay there the entire time I take down into that squat hold. I'm going to stay active as I hold this position. I'm not softening and just sort of relaxing down here. I'm staying in that active position for that nice 10-second hold, and then I'll push through those legs and stand tall. So I'm using this just to kind of open up the ankles and the hips a little bit, just to get that body fired up before we move into some tempo air squats. So from there, if you'd like to use the elevated surface for the squat as well, you can, or you're going to come off of that elevated surface and do some tempo air squats right out of that squat hold. So my feet are going to be about hip width apart, toes slightly turned out. I should say hip to shoulder, depending on the individual. And I'm going to take it down 3 seconds. So I'm going to keep my weight through that midfoot for 3, 2, 1. I'm going to give myself a little pause at the bottom and then stand nice and slow, trying to maintain that good posture as I come up, shoulders and hips rising together. So again, 3, 2, 1. I hit that good bottom position, push through those feet, and stand nice and smooth through that squat. So we're using this again to kind of groove our pattern, groove our movement, and really focus on hitting that midfoot balance and finding our proper depth that we can use later on in our dumbbell squat. From there, I'm going to continue with the lower half. I'm going to go nice and wide in my legs. So I'm still able to open up my hips fully, and I'm going to pull my hip towards my heel with my squat mechanics. So I'm going to draw my hip down towards my heel, keeping my feet flat, my chest tall, and I'm going to push through that leg, opening the hips, and then drawing the hip down towards that heel, pushing through those legs, coming back up, and working that side to side. So I want you guys to really focus on your squat mechanics when you do these side lunges. And really focus on setting those hips, pulling that hip towards the heel, keeping that posture upright as we would if we were doing an air squat. So we want to make sure that that posture at the bottom of that side lunge is very similar to our squat, except we're on one side. Once we're done our 6 to 10 alternating reps, done at a relatively slow pace, we're going to move into a foot assist pistol. The foot assist pistol, we're going to bring our feet nice and narrow under our hips. We are going to pull one foot back into our kickstand position. Hips are nice and square, I'm nice and upright, and I'm going to draw my hip down towards my heel, keeping my weight primarily over top of that balancing leg, and then pushing through that balancing leg, opening my hips and knees. The big thing here, you guys, with this is making sure we're using that balancing leg primarily as our balancing and our moving leg. The other leg in the kickstand is just there to pick up the slack, help us with balance so we can put all that weight into that mover. Now, if that's getting a little easy, you can load that position. So you can grab your dumbbell up under the chin, working through that nice foot assist pistol with a dumbbell load. So keeping that position nice and square, nice and solid, nice and upright, and working through that goblet pistol. Playing with that for a multitude of reps, a multitude of weights before moving on to this next phase where we take away the kickstand leg. So if you've been doing those, weighted, built up with a few different loads, still hitting that proper depth, like I kind of want to practice with a little less balance, you can take that kickstand leg, put it to that heel, so we get rid of that extra assistance with the balancing portion, but we can still get assistance with the leg in terms of creating tension. So we're going to push against that foot, we're going to find that nice pistol position at the bottom, push through that leg, and stand tall. Once that's getting easier, well, we can load that too, but that is down the road in terms of our pistol progression. So don't feel rushed to play with those different ones. Focus on that key fundamental kickstand variation first, then start adding load. As that starts to progress well, easy, don't have to think about it, then start taking away that balance. Quick little recap, we have a heel elevated squat hold or a squat hold for 10 seconds. Tempo air squat for 5 reps at a 3-1-3 tempo. Side lunge, 6 to 10 alternating, no tempo, but we'll keep it slow. Then we have a foot assist pistol for 3 aside, working through one of those different variations I gave you to help further that pistol and squat mechanics along. We're going to take that down for 1 to 3 rounds, just working through those key points of performance, getting those legs ready, and working on just opening things up for our squat later on in our workout. So pause it, rock it, come back and join me. We're going to add in a little bit of load to that squat, and we're going to start working on some skip skill. All right, from here, we're going to kickstart off with a goblet squat. And this goblet squat can actually transfer over into a front squat if you'd like to use the front squat in our workout today. But for our first round, let's pull that dumbbell up under the chin so we can work on a little bit of posture work. So my feet are going to be in my natural squat stance, the same squat stance I used in my tempo air squat earlier, so hip to shoulder position. I'm going to push into the dumbbell a little bit to keep my core tight, drawing the hips to the heels, keeping that weight mid-foot, and that body tall. I'm going to feel that bottom position and stand up nice and tall. So I'm going to take that body down as deep as I can maintain position and then stand tall. We're really focusing on those key mechanics here of the squat so we can really kind of figure out where we want to live in our workout and what loading we want to use in our workout as well. After that, we're going to kickstart the hamstring, and you can do this loaded or unloaded. If you're going to do it loaded, you can hold the dumbbell to the front, to the kickstand leg, to the balancing leg. Neither is right or wrong. It's just going to load the body just a little bit differently. So again, once we start kind of getting comfortable with one, it's always nice to change it up so that we can get that different sensation throughout the body with these RDLs. I'm going to show it with both hands on the bell just for demo purposes, but we're going to get that toe down in our kickstand where hips are nice and square, the dumbbell's close to my body, and I'm going to keep the dumbbell close as I draw the hips back. Drawing the hips back is going to let myself hinge forward. I'm going to take the dumbbell to just below the knee or to the knee, depending on the range that I have in this movement. And I'm going to stand up nice and tall, rechecking the hip, making sure that it's square as I take that dumbbell down by pulling the hip back. So as I pull the hip back, I want to make sure my weight is through my midfoot and I'm not traveling back too much into my heel. So we want to make sure that we keep that big toe down, just like when we squat. But in that drawing the hip back in that hinge pattern, it's very easy to kind of get pulled away from that front portion of the foot and really shift into the heel. So we still want to maintain that neutral balance through the foot, keeping that weight down through the middle. Once we're done our 3 per side, we are going to move into some heel taps and ankle pops, followed up with a skip or skip variation. So our heel tap, we're going to bring our toes together, heels together. Hands are going to be relaxed at the side. I always like to breathe my shoulders up and then just relax them and just let them hang. My core though is going to be semi-engaged, so I'm maintaining a strong posture. And then I'm going to tap those heels. So just nice fast little tappies. So up and down, relaxing those arms, relaxing that shoulder, and just letting that body tap up and down. Now we're looking at 10 nice solid seconds of that, so it's going to allow us to really work on our posture, our positioning for skip, and heat up those feet and ankles. From there, we're going to move into our ankle pop. So I'm going to pull my hands up like I was going to put them in my pockets, which is going to put my elbows back slightly and my hands are going to hang. I'm then going to allow myself to bounce into those ankles and those knees, so I get a little bit more involved in this jump, and I'm using a little bit more rebound. I'm not trying to move my arms, I'm just allowing that to happen naturally as I jump. So we're looking at a nice smooth set of 10 seconds there as well, before we move into our skipping with our skipping rope, or a skip variation. So if you're looking for a skip variation, you can play around with more ankle pops if you like, or we can work on our in-out hop to work on footwork. You can work on a dumbbell lateral jump over or step over, whatever you would like to do with some sort of skipping or hopping option to kind of work on waking up our ankles, our feet, and working on a little bit of coordination to wake up the mind as well. As a quick recap for this work set, we have a goblet squat for 3 at a 5-second eccentric, or you can replace that goblet squat with a front squat for using it in the workout. Single leg RDL for 3 aside, loaded or unloaded. Then we're going to move into a heel tap for 10, ankle pop for 10, and then 20 seconds of skipping, or some hopping variation, which I'll have some on the bottom for you. You can kind of experiment that you can use in place of the skip in the workout as well. We're going to hit that for 2 to 3 rounds, figuring out some working loads, figuring out what kind of squat we're going to use in the workout to come, and then from there, take on that work set. So pause it, rock it, get playing with those movements, and then we'll warm you up a little bit more and get you ready for the workout. We've made it to the work set, you guys. We have a nice little couplet that's going to involve a little bit of coordination and a little bit of squatting. So we have 5 rounds, double under of 75 reps, or a cardio piece of choice that I'll have on the workout description at the bottom. So check that out, make sure you're happy with your choice, and that it's going to help you kind of further your skipping abilities along, or get that cardio racked up so we get that heart rate moving around before we rock our squat. So we've talked about the goblet squat already in terms of our option for our squat in our dumbbell squat, but we also have another option, which is a front squat. So very similar in posture, just different placement of the dumbbell or dumbbells. You can do a single dumbbell front squat if you'd like to work on some unilateral work, or you can use 2 and you can work on that nice full front rack position. The only difference with the front squat to the goblet is the placement of the dumbbell. It may feel different in the bottom of the squat as well, but we're looking at setting those ribs, same stance that we used in our goblet squat and our tempo air squat. And we're just going to draw those hips back towards those heels as we take that squat as deep as we can maintain that position. We're also going to push into the dumbbell just a little bit so that as we squat, the dumbbell doesn't start to collapse our elbow. We want to keep it active and upright as we do that squat so we can really feel that engagement through that oblique and through that side body. So depending on where you're living with that squat, we are looking for a slightly heavier load today for those dumbbell squats. So play with it, figure out where you want to go. But again, those key squat components are all there. Feet, hip to shoulder, flat foot contact with our weight through our laces. Our big toe's going to stay down the whole time, but we are going to stay midfoot. Our body's nice and upright, and those hips are going to draw towards our heels. So there's a few key points here that we want to really focus on, along with any other kind of key point that you need to focus on for yourself when it comes to our squat. I hope you enjoy this work set, you guys. It's not going to be a super long workout, but it's definitely going to test those legs, that cardio, and a little bit of that core stability as we work on that heavier kind of squat with a little bit of fatigue through the double under. So I hope you enjoy. As always, work for quality. This is a great workout just to kind of work on some skill work as well, work on some quality of movement here. Use it for what you need midweek after a nice big workout yesterday. We've got a few big doozies coming up at the end of the week as well. So have fun, work for quality. See you tomorrow for some more fun. Bye, you guys.